What's up, guys? Jordan Kelly here with Exposure Athletics. Today we have Kail Walker, past NAIA wide receiver, two-time award-winning athlete here. Today we're just going to run a few things by him and kind of pick his brain on playing for the NAIA. So just to start, during the recruiting process, like how did you go about that, and like what made you choose Midland?
Yeah, so as someone who wasn't heavily recruited by it, really started out how I discovered the NAIA was our high school coaches would tell us, these Hastings and Doane and Midland are going to come to the school and talk about recruiting. So I really kind of started that process with these coaches coming to our schools and talking to us about their program.
Right.
And then it started just from me making my own huddle film, my own huddle highlights on huddle, and creating my own film and content and sending it to these coaches myself. So I did a lot of it myself, with a little bit of help from my coaches as well. But I chose Midland just because of, out of all the schools that I was looking at, they were really the ones that wanted me the most. So I chose Midland because, it was far enough away from home where I didn't feel like I was at home, but it was, close enough where I could go home if I wanted to. And then with the growth that the university was experiencing at the time, it was kind of a no-brainer for me to go with Midland.
You said that you were the one handling your recruiting, like with your huddle videos. Your teammates in high school, were they doing the same thing, or was it kind of like you were going above and beyond by doing that on your own?
They were. I think it was a good mix of people who were doing it on their own or who didn't have the desire to play at a higher level. So some of them didn't do anything at all. But I think the ones that did want to play, back in that time in 2010, 2011, there was nothing like what you guys are doing and other companies doing, creating content for these players. So I think a lot of them were doing it on their own.
What was your experience like in the NAIA?
It was. I don't regret going any other route. I wanted to go somewhere where I could have an impact right away. I could have walked on to another school, a bigger school, Division I, II, even a Division II school, but I didn't want to be just another man on the roster. I wanted to go somewhere where I could play right away and have an impact right away.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of kids don't understand that necessarily, moving on from the high school level. But so what advice would you give to the younger generation, kind of after making it to college, obviously leading to the success that you experienced?
Don't look at the school as like it's an NAIA school. It's a smaller school because, for me, I went to Midland thinking that I was going to go there my freshman year. I was going to play right away. It's an NAIA school. How hard could it be? But I got humbled real quick when I showed up there, and I wasn't the best athlete, nor was I even the best receiver. And so I redshirted my freshman year, and that was the best decision that I made because I was on the scout team. I was going up against the defensive backs that were first team, second teams, starters. Grown men. And you guys know, when you surround yourself with people who are better than you, you elevate a lot quicker. So every day, practice, I was running the other team's plays against the first and second team defense. It elevated my game so much faster to where that next year, my redshirt freshman year, technically, from that point on, I started the next 3 seasons that I played.
So, Kail, just lastly here, what was your biggest takeaway from your experience as a student athlete at the NAIA level?
Yeah, so I think my biggest takeaway is, the team aspect of things. Everything that I learned on the field, I can now apply it into my personal and my business life. And I think when you are worrying about your clients' needs and wants over your own, you can accomplish a lot more. So I think the biggest thing is learning the whole aspect of team. Together everyone accomplishes more. That's what team stands for.
I like that. I like that.
that.
Now, with our theme of the week being goal setting, I just want to ask you one last question. What is your take on goals, and how do you go about setting goals, personally and professionally?
I think number one, you got to figure out what your why is. Why are you setting those goals? what are you working towards, and for what reason? Yeah, because without your why, what are you really working towards? So I do think it's important that you be very specific about your goals. But I think the most important thing is, it's setting goals is great and everything, but the one thing that I think people lack is putting in the work to get to those goals.
Right, taking action.
Taking action. Action is the key word there, because a dream without action is just a dream.
Right. All right, Kail, thanks for making an appearance. I hope you guys can, think about the goal setting and some of the things he touched on and really apply that to yourself. Again, this is Jordan with Exposure Athletics. Remember, greatness is a choice.